won't one of the fundamental questions become how do we live in space instead of floating up around in these tin cans that are depressing and sort of abysmal? Won't we be able to have furniture designers and Gucci comforters and all sorts of different ways of thinking about what our lives might be like up in space?
I love that idea, actually. What will count as luxury in space? Will luxury be, an extra ration of fresh fruit? That'll be the pinnacle of some rare, unaffordable thing that demonstrates social status. Or will luxury be the ability to make local, high-end designer products, which maybe get sold back to Earth because they have this greater value by being space flown? I think how all of those material things are kind of mobilized to support social structures will be really interesting in space.
First off, space archaeology, two things that I don't think of always going together. Like, tell me, what is a space archaeologist?
You're right about that, Jesse. A lot of people are very surprised to see those two terms put together side by side, because archaeology is thought of as being about the past, and particularly the deep past, and space is very much the present and the future. So in a way, they're a very odd juxtaposition. But it makes sense if you think that archaeology isn't just about old things. It's actually a set of theories and methods which are about how humans interact with the material world. So it's about artifacts and buildings and structures and environments. And that's kind of the official definition of archaeology, I guess. There's this whole field which has been around for maybe about 30 years, called the archaeology of the contemporary past, by which they mean basically after the Second World War, when you have massive changes in how humans operate in the world. And space archaeology is part of that movement. It's just we're focusing particularly on all of those objects and places that are to do with humans getting into space. So we're doing the same kind of things that an archaeologist looking at, say, the Iron Age in Europe would do. We're just applying it to this really different set of objects.
Now, we have not been building things that have actually gone into space for very long. And I imagine that they were made by hand, almost all of them, right? Because we don't have manufacturing for space, or maybe we do, I don't know. Maybe just recently we do. Yeah. When you're looking at things like, they build these things, they cost a lot, and then they send them into space. Most of them don't come back, do they?
A lot of them do, and a lot of them don't. So thinking about the first part of what you were saying then, there's a lot of very niche use of very specific materials and one-off parts and unique kinds of technologies, but a lot of spacecraft manufacture is actually plugged straight into normal kind of engineering manufacture. So it kind of is and isn't mass-produced in that way. It's about space, but it's also part of, you might call it the sort of industrial military complex as well. So we kind of have this web of industry. But what happens to this stuff, I think, is really interesting. So some of it stays on Earth. So we have things like models and engineering prototypes and unused spacecraft and bits of spacecraft that stay here. Then when something gets launched, it'll usually be on a multi-stage rocket, and the first and second stages will fall back to Earth. Then it'll get into space if it's going to Earth orbit on that third stage, which will stay up there. But depending on how high something is launched, it will get dragged back to Earth. Some bits of it will survive to fall on the surface, other bits will get burnt up. Then we have other spacecraft that are sent to the moon, Mars, Venus, asteroids, comets, and then just into deep space, and then never coming back. So we're still communicating. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 are the furthest human objects, and we're still talking to them, but at some point they will run out of power and we'll lose communication, and they'll be like these little orphan spacecraft that we'll never know anything about ever again, which I have quite strong and complex feelings about that, I guess. But yeah, above a certain altitude above Earth, everything is lost to us. And below a certain altitude, it's still kind of in a circulating economy of materials.
you ever see the Star Trek movie when Voyager comes back? Did you ever
Yes,
see that? V'ger, That's a
that's
pretty wild
quite
movie.
a
I
stunning moment.
Yeah.
what you're saying, Alice, is so unbelievable. But do we need to have more intention? Do we need to understand, as people sending things out there, also what this actually means? That these things are out there forever. Do you think there's consciousness around that or intentionality when people are creating objects that are going to go out there? How will they disintegrate, or how, like, here we're polluting the universe, right? So the galaxy. So
Well, we've polluted
I know that's what
around
I
the
mean.
earth pretty badly,
That's what I mean. So how do we think about all this?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. For a lot of people in the space world, they only think up to the end of a mission. And once that mission is officially over, the spacecraft may still exist. It may still actually be working, but it's kind of abandoned. The staff get reassigned to other projects and they stop thinking about it. So it's a very archaeological perspective to think, well, okay, what happens to it now? What's it's going to look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 500 years from now, when it's out in the space environment with high radiation, being bombarded constantly by interplanetary dust. And now, if you're in Earth orbit, of course, there's all kinds of human-made dust that's going to bombard these spacecraft. So one person, I don't know if I should bring this example up, one person who thought about this was Elon Musk.
You're going to say that.
So in 2018, he sent this red Tesla sports car into space, and it was a test launch, so it could easily have blown up. It might never have made it to space. But he tweeted a few times about this red sports car, saying he hoped it would survive maybe for billions of years and kind of be a monument to human technology.
Hasn't it
So he
already
was
disintegrated?
It probably has.
Yeah.
Because it was made largely of organic material and the space environment's pretty harsh. So I'm actually working with a group of students at RMIT who are planning a mission to rendezvous with the Tesla and sample it to see exactly how it has deteriorated. It's a hypothetical mission.
You're not going, are you?
So, all of these objects that are in, lower Earth orbit are going to return to the Earth. And so at times, when they're big enough, like Space Lab, they direct them to a very specific place, the space graveyard. Would you describe what the space graveyard is?
It is quite an extraordinary place, and I know it interests you a lot. It's called Point Nemo. It's a point in the sea which is the furthest from land in any direction. So I think it's about 2,600 kilometers to the nearest land in any direction. It's ocean, and the ocean floor is about 4 kilometers down at that point. And in order to avoid environmental harm, for a number of decades, some spacefaring nations have deliberately been bringing down spacecraft and space stations in this point so that they don't do terrible things to the marine environment closer to land. They don't potentially land on top of someone who's actually living on land. So it's called the spacecraft graveyard. There's probably over about 300 objects down there, including bits of the Russian Mir space station. So quite an extraordinary place.
Now, that's about 2 miles down. This is literally the middle of nowhere. There's no further point from land. So do ships go there? Like if we were doing archaeology, we'd be digging in the ground. Does anybody go there and look?
Nobody has gone there and looked. It's also another reason for its location is it's sort of out of the main shipping lanes. So ships you wouldn't go there just routinely. And nobody, as far as we know, has made a journey to see if they can actually image what's on the bottom of the sea there in some way. I mean, it's challenging, 2 miles, 4 kilometers down. There are remote operated vehicles, marine vehicles that research vessels use that can go down that far. But that depth down is called the midnight zone. It's pitch black. So when you think of it, you might think of, blue water with all of these spacecraft bodies scattered around the surface. But you wouldn't see anything unless you put down a remote vehicle with a light on it, and nobody is going down in a submersible to somewhere like that anytime soon.
Exactly.
this area, we don't really know much about it except that it's far from other places. Maybe we have some sort of low resolution satellite imagery of it, but we don't know much about it. I mean, there could be herds of fish down there. There probably are. I mean, we don't know what the environmental factors of dropping all this stuff in this specific area are, do we?
We don't know much about it for that reason, because people generally have not gone there with research ships and done work. It's meant to be a very sort of low energy environment with a low population of sea fauna. But that's a prediction. Like, we don't actually know. And one thing we learn, I mean, for me, it's often late at night in Australia, turning on to a live feed coming from a deep sea remote vehicle and sitting there watching the ocean creatures in the dark while I'm trying to sleep. And one thing we do learn is there's always surprising things at the bottom of the sea. So while the scientists say that there's probably not a very diverse, vibrant population of different sea creatures down there, we don't actually know, and probably need to find out at some point.
Me and Priscilla
we just talked to Sam literally 2 days ago, who is on a government,
one of the NOAA ships, and found the golden orb.
The golden orb. And so we literally,
that they don't know what it is.
They don't know. Yeah. Because
I don't know what the golden orb is.
Well, we're going to,
it's just like something they found that they couldn't figure out what it was. But he had a beautiful analogy about, because his job is that he goes around looking for things on the bottom of the ocean. And he said that, you might go and use LiDAR to look and you see, a block, you walk down a block of ocean floor, but that doesn't tell you anything about what's on the rest of the block, what's on the rest of the little town. And, this area does fascinate me in that it just sounds like an old-fashioned ship graveyard, except for they're not ships, they're spacecraft. And that if for some reason our civilization wasn't here anymore, 10,000 years from now, somebody would be running their ship over that spot and they might find some of these things,
Well, wait a minute. You just said there'd be no civilization. So who's going to
No, there would still be remnants. It's like when we find those, we find all sorts of things on the bottom of the ocean, because gradually sea level has increased so that there are ruins in the coastal areas that are of where people used to live that we just have no idea how they got there. Like in Egypt, there's cities that are underwater.
Yeah.
Which are quite original.
But do you think differently of the Earth and sort of the rest of our universe and space as one big kind of hangout place? I mean, you have a different perspective, perhaps.
I think one thing the spacecraft graveyard shows is how interconnected all these sort of different levels are. So we do have this tendency to think of space as sort of out there, like it's outer space, right?
Yeah.
So it's stuff out there that we can't see, that we kind of can't influence. And somewhere like the spacecraft graveyard really brings home that all of these places are interconnected. And everything that's in space now that humans have sent there started out on the surface of Earth, being constructed, tested, built, launched, surrounded by people all of the time. They're whole communities of people built around space and spacecraft. So you think of the life cycle of a space object, and some of them are circulating between Earth and Earth orbit, and then back to Earth again, down to the bottom of the ocean, where they sort of come to rest, where their resting place is a peaceful one, not always in the ocean. So very famously, in 1979, the US space station Skylab re-entered in an uncontrolled re-entry over Western Australia and caused a consternation that is still celebrated even today. So you kind of have this circulation between land and orbit and sea. And then you have the stuff that is launched beyond that, so the stuff that's never coming back. And so it's kind of circulating between Earth and Sun and Moon. And then you have spacecraft like the Voyager 1 and 2, Pioneer 9 and 10, and New Horizons, which is out in the Kuiper Belt right now. So they're kind of in a network which involves intergalactic and interstellar influences. So we kind of have this ecology, I guess, with different nodes that attract or are the center of human and natural objects. So yeah, I think this is something for me that makes Point Nemo really interesting, as well as if you think of it like a dynamical system where you're mapping what's still and what's moving and where the equilibrium points are and where the disequilibrium points are. So Point Nemo is an equilibrium point. It's a stable point on the surface of Earth or the bottom of the ocean. And those spacecraft are in their lowest energy state and they're not going anywhere for the time being.
They're also, when we say it's a graveyard, they're not really probably that close together. I mean, they're in this area, but it's a huge area. I mean, how big would that area where they're spread out be?
It is very big. I can't remember the figure off the top of my head, but you're quite right. So you wouldn't sort of send a little camera down there and see them just scattered about on the surface. It's pretty much like they are in orbit as well. The distances are huge, the volumes are huge, and it can be really difficult to find things on the bottom of the ocean. You'd have to look.
Starship, the SpaceX spaceship that can carry, I think it's like 120 tons of stuff into orbit. Will we be able to separate everything into before and after that? Because doesn't that change what's possible for space in a dramatic way?
What an interesting question. I think that's something that probably will become clearer as time goes on. So the company, for example, could go broke immediately after that launch and no more of these rockets would be made, which would be a little bit like what happened to the Apollo program. Between 1969 and 1972, you had 6 missions to the moon, extraordinary, and then nothing happened. Yeah. So it's quite possible that you're right, that this will become a turning point and we'll see the evidence of how that has occurred as time passes. Or it might also equally be a sort of a blip that we look back and say, oh, what happened to that? So I think it's too early to tell, but I think this is one of the fascinating things about looking at an archaeology that's so recent, that these are the questions we can ask. What does this event mean as we're here now watching it happen, contemplating the possible futures that arise from an event like that, I think is half the fun of doing space archaeology.
Won't one of the fundamental questions become, how do we live in space instead of floating up around in these tin cans that are depressing and sort of abysmal? You know, won't we be able to have furniture designers and, you know, and Gucci comforters and, you know, all sorts of different ways of thinking about what our lives might be like up in space, you know?
I love that idea, actually. What will count as luxury in space? Will luxury be, you know, an extra ration of fresh fruit? That'll be the pinnacle of some rare, unaffordable thing that demonstrates social status. Or will luxury be the ability to make local, high-end designer products, which maybe get sold back to Earth because they have this greater value by being space flown? I think how all of those material things are kind of mobilized to support social structures will be really interesting in space. We can predict that they will be, but exactly how is something we don't know yet. I guess, you know, there are these utopian visions of space where everyone's equal, but they often don't sort of end up
Doesn't
like
work
that.
Out too well for human beings. Yeah. You know?
I mean, you know, what you were just saying, Alice, is interesting because I was just thinking, you know, Jesse's talking about a Gucci comforter, you know, a fresh apple piece of fruit. Who's going? And then are people being, you know, I mean, we did a bad thing in this world. We had slaves, right? Are people going to have to get out of a bad situation, for example, go to prison, or you got to go up there and be of service to Mr. Musk or whatever, you know, like.
Oh, that's a horrifying thought. I'd stay here and be in prison, you know.
Well, no, but the thing is, who's going to get to go, the kind of access, and do you actually anticipate it as, like, I wouldn't go if you drag me, you know, I mean, just like there's no, I mean, I can't even get in an airplane without a lot of stress and anxiety. Yeah. So going up somewhere else. But I mean, do you think it is something that people will, I guess they are excited to do as an elitist sport, all of the, do you have thoughts about that?
Yeah, who gets to go will determine the tenor of a future space society, one that develops on Mars or on the moon. So who are the founders of that society, I think, are absolutely critical. And there's been a lot of discussion about using prison labor, indentured or unfree labor in space, because it will be hard, it will be isolated, You have to have
A
some
lot of
incentive.
people will die. A lot of people will die up there.
Yes, Jesse, that's such, at the moment, if you think about it, the whole history of space exploration so far, there's been many, many points at which people could have died in space. Now, there have been some tragic deaths, which have usually been on Earth or returning to Earth or launching, but no one's actually died while in space, while on a mission still outside Earth. If they had, we might think quite differently about things right now. I think you're right. I think all of the people who dream of going to Mars, and there's lots of them, they'll end up there, and there will be, my view is there'll be some, the tiniest of equipment failures, like the smallest little thing, a bolt that comes loose, a plastic cable tie that breaks. Everyone's dead within minutes. I think that's the sort of thing that will happen. And I think that'll really change how people feel about going into space. It could have been, I'm sure everyone's heard of the speech that the US President Nixon made just in case the Apollo 11 astronauts didn't come back. It's quite a nice speech, actually. You can look it up online. But he didn't have to use it because they came back. Everybody came back. But just think of all of the things that could have gone wrong. And then it's one thing for those things to go wrong if you're a highly trained, highly paid person. Not the Apollo astronauts weren't actually that highly paid, but it's another thing if you're just a civilian, a worker, to take those risks. So some people, I know, they want to do it. They want to go to Mars so badly.
Yeah. You can imagine they want to do it right down until they get down in the middle of that lava tube. It's freezing, and they go, "Whoa, this was terrible."
Well, yeah, because they're watching television and they're watching movies and they're seeing movie stars go and have a great time, or they're reading books, but the reality is going to be something very different. I mean,
it's going to be tough going up there, I imagine.
Jesse, I think you should.
I'm not going. I don't even leave my house. You know what I mean?
That's very wise.
I don't know. I think that it's interesting. People definitely have a fascination with leaving Earth. And they say, in 4 billion years, the Earth won't be here anymore. The sun will burn out. So we got to get out of here, right? Although it does seem like I think one thing human beings are terrible at is judging distance and time. These are things that our brains are just not built to actually be able to think about. So 4 billion years seems like quite a long time. I think the least of our problems is leaving the Earth before then. Although, what's your thought on that? Some people think that the height of human civilization is the ability for us as a species to leave the Earth. Where do you come down?
That's such a complex question. Personally, I feel a huge longing for space and for the stars, and to have that opportunity, which I think feels like this for a lot of people, that somehow we'll understand our lives better. There'll be some revelation or some opening to make sense of the world by being in space. So I think at that emotional level, I think a lot of people share that view. But I also think, we're proposing habitats and settlements on the Moon and Mars right now, with the assumption that things will kind of work out okay. And, this might be a cliche, but look at what's happening on the surface of the planet. I don't necessarily think we have to solve all the problems on Earth before going to space, but I think it's not a good prognostication of what we're going to do to space to look at what's happening on Earth right now. So the height of civilization, to me, would be the ability to end war on Earth and in space. And how we do that, I don't know any more than anyone else does. But if you're going to prioritize what counts as the pinnacle of civilization, surely it has to be something like that, rather than saying, our ability to put a space vehicle on the surface of Titan or similar.
It's interesting. I mean, because of communication tools, we're hyper aware of violence when it breaks out now in the world, although it's definitively less than it's ever been before, just in terms of count. Although, you do wonder, as population continues to increase, although not so much
now
in the
it's going to
places
go
where
down.
we live, where I think it's like 1.1 per capita, which almost doesn't keep the population going. What it'll mean. But, it tends to be that we worry about things that, in 20 or 30 years, the things we worried about weren't even the main things to worry about. like there were other things to worry about that we didn't even anticipate. COVID's an example of that. We sort of didn't anticipate there would be a pandemic, even though there was one 100 years ago, and we shouldn't have been so arrogant to think that we wouldn't have a pandemic or have another one in a few years.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were some people telling us that constant.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of human beings. We don't, until it's in front of us,
Archaeology as a thing, it's like, do we keep all of these things where spaceships have been developed? And every couple of months now we hear, I'm not that close to it, but I hear like, oh, wow, India just sent something to space and Japan sent one to space. And, a lot of nations are now sending things to space,
Yeah, we're getting more of it for sure. And there's going to be heaps more of it on the moon very soon as well. So I often think about this in terms of like 100 years from now, what questions would we want to ask about what happened that we need this stuff to answer? So I think we need to keep enough stuff so that people in the future can answer those questions or try to answer those questions. And I also think, well, what would we do? Like, as archaeologists, we're out there surveying and excavating, looking for, statistically, there's millions and millions and millions of stone tools. There's not very many masks of Agamemnon, to use a terrible example. So the more stuff you keep, the more is likely to make it through to the future. I once met an Aboriginal lawyer who had a ground edge axe her grandfather had passed down to her. And I thought, what an extraordinary, precious object, given the colonial impacts on Aboriginal people in Australia. The fact that she had this thing from her grandfather was just so special. And I think if we got to choose, which we kind of can now, what are the best things to keep to help the future, then we don't have to keep everything, but we should try and make some reasoned decisions about what's going to be useful to keep. And one thing is those rare things. So if Indonesia has launched 3 of its own satellites, I think it's actually more than that, but we need to keep one Indonesian satellite. One Indonesian satellite is more important than keeping all 400 Russian rocket bodies in low Earth orbit. Or the US has something like, if we're not counting Starlink, about 4,000 satellites up there. We can afford to lose a bunch of them because there's still plenty left. So I think thinking through things like that, thinking through what it is, I often think about, when I'm trying to recreate what happened in the past, I think how lucky it is. Like, I can go to archives and the most boring correspondence between government officials will be preserved there. And I can use that correspondence to pull out some information that is only a thing because of my perspective from the original time. And we're going to lose, there's all the stuff that's now digital that's just gone. Like, we're never going to get it back, this huge black hole. And I think also we should be thinking about spacecraft and space industries and space things right now, just to make sure a sample of stuff gets through to the future, because you just never know what's going to become relevant and what kind of questions you might want to ask.
Do you think it's already too late? Like when we look at those early missions from NASA, they never kept any of the stuff, NASA Eames, somebody went in there one day and there were all the boxes of original film and things that hadn't been looked at since the moment they were shot,
I mean, that's a huge thing, isn't it? Like the data that has been unanalyzed, and that we get. There's been a few examples where somebody discovers some new planetary or astronomical phenomenon, and it turns out not to be new because it's there in the old records if you knew what you were looking for. So there's also this amazing experiment, the Long Duration Exposure Facility, that was sent into space in 1976, I think. 70s anyway. It was like a cylinder with a whole range of different materials and surfaces to test what happened to them. It stayed up for 6 years. It was brought back by one of the shuttles. It hasn't been fully analysed. So that kind of stuff, I guess, that's another consideration that I think is an important one to bring up, that it's not just sort of cultural, historical context we can gain from these things. There is actually a lot of science that could still be done, should be done, with all of this legacy data.
I've never understood this controversy about whether we went to the moon or not, right? Because you can just take a telescope and look at the moon and see the ship sitting on it. Do you understand this controversy?
I don't understand it. I'm in an interesting position as an archaeologist, because archaeologists get conspiracy theories about Atlantis and aliens creating human culture and technology, and then space people get the lunar conspiracy theorists. So I kind of get conspiracy theorists from both ends. I personally don't understand it, but clearly there's a lot of emotional investment in thinking that we didn't go to the moon. It's almost like the moon thing isn't the important point. It's just a hook to hang a bunch of beliefs around not trusting authority, about not relying on scientists, about believing that your own evidence that you gather yourself. So lots of people have studied this phenomenon. I think it's one of the most exciting things that ever happened in human history. Why would you try to pretend it didn't exist? And I challenge a lunar conspiracy theorist to go out there and read some of the scientific papers and then say,
I think that's your problem right there.
We left all the stuff up there. You know what I mean?
Well, but I mean, I think it goes to, I think it was probably very unsettling for certain belief systems that, you know, it has to do with religion and theology and what people's beliefs are, and that you
well, how about the flat earth theories? You know, like, again, you know, you can't
wait, what?
Well, people believe the earth is flat. There's still people who believe that.
Yeah.
Flat earth. You know, like,
okay,
I mean, which is,
but I challenge them to go and walk off and see what happens.
But you can't walk off, you know?
I know, but if you think the earth is flat, you would fall off it. So I think we arrange a walk, if you will, a walkathon around the earth. Alice, I have a question though. What made you so driven to do this? Like, were you a little person looking up and saying, what's going on up there? Or were you archaeologically looking back? I mean, how did you get here?
I was a little person looking up. So I grew up on a farm in southern New South Wales. So just incredible views of the night sky. And we had, I think they're called planispheres. They're a circular piece of cardboard, and you turn the inner circle around according to the season, and it will show you what constellations you can see. So I used to go outside and look to identify the constellations, and I wanted to travel to the stars so badly. This led me to reading a lot of science fiction as a teenager, but I also wanted to know about the human past. So I did end up becoming an archaeologist, because knowing where we came from is just as important to understanding the meaning of life, I guess, as to knowing where we might end up. And I was a grown-up professional archaeologist working as a heritage consultant when one day I was looking up at the night sky and I realized that all of the space junk we had put into Earth orbit was in fact an archaeological record, and that I could study it as I could. At that moment in time, I was working on Aboriginal stone tool sites in the Boyne River Valley in central Queensland. And I realized I could do exactly the same thing for all of this stuff floating around Earth.
So where did you go from there? Because it's like, that's a big, like, that's not even an industry yet, right?
Right. It's not even a thing.
Yes. That's true. So yeah, it was an interesting trajectory. So I started talking about this to people, and predictably quite a few reactions were along the lines that this was sort of a bit too kooky, that how could this be a serious field of study? But to me, it just felt so natural and it felt important. So my next steps were, I basically resigned from the job I had immediately after that heritage consulting job. I went to work in the heritage division of the Environmental Protection Agency at the time. And it just became clear to me that I needed to be in a university environment to really pursue this. So I quit, and I was without work for some time, and I'd like to say thanks very much to my parents who supported me during this. So I started to build up my knowledge. I started to go to space events. In the Australian space community, I think there were people who were like, what the hell is an archaeologist doing here? But yes, over time I started to write and think through some of the issues And so this is quite a while ago now. And gradually other people have become interested and come on board doing different regions of space, different kinds of space archaeology. And now it's a thing, like the space community internationally is starting to think about heritage issues like on the moon and Mars and in Earth orbit. So this thing that people 20 years ago thought was, oh my God, there's Alice off again on some wild goose chase, is now actually something of serious concern that governments and space agencies are taking seriously. So I suppose the moral of this is you can never tell how things are going to work out. And if something seems important, it quite likely is.
Exactly.
It seems like there's been an explosion of interests and building things in space in recent years. Like from the time you've started to now, it seems like the proliferation's just been getting, we almost have a space industry now, private space industry.
Yeah, this is true. It's moved out of purely defense or purely space agency. And now we have companies who are not building things for space agencies, they're building things for their own space enterprises. So that's a real change in how things are being done.
Governance in space. We talk about all these countries building things, but it's like these countries don't own the moon. Won't there need to be a new governance structure around space for the people who are in space?
That is such a huge topic of discussion right now. So yes, they likely will. So lots of people are thinking about like how best to do that. We talked about unfree labor earlier, and that's going to be sort of part of these things. Like what rights do people have in space? Who will hold the power? Who will make regulations and laws? Will it all be driven from Earth, in which case it's bound by the space treaties? Are we going to have people are talking about things like polycentric governance? So you don't have a top-down authority. You have sort of overlapping areas of expertise and regulation. And this enables you to prevent one nation, for example, gaining dominance in a space situation, which would be counter to the UN space treaties. So people are discussing this and writing about this and having big international meetings about exactly how this should play out. I think our friend Mr. Musk has even suggested that at some point, if he gets habitats on Mars, that Mars might sort of secede from Earth and set up its own government independent of the treaty
called
system.
Musk.
I think he's planning to, he can't run for president here. I think he's planning to be
he wants to be president of Mars.
Oh, is that what's going on?
He wants to be in charge of Mars.
Anyway.
What science fiction? Do you read science fiction? Are you still a fan?
I do. So I like Alistair Reynolds and Lavi Tidar and Peter F. Hamilton. Of course, Ursula K. Le Guin can reread and reread over and over again. Another favourite is Vonda McIntyre. N.K. Jemisin. There's a whole range of new writers and, the old classics. And I love a good short story collection.
Do you watch any science fiction? Is there any shows that catch your imagination?
I think I'm a bit old school. I prefer the literary science fiction. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to make a terrible, terrible confession. I'm going to make 3 terrible confessions. I don't like Star Trek.
Me neither. I'm with you. I
don't like Star Wars.
I'm with you. For real.
I know I should watch The Expanse. I need to watch The Expanse because everybody speaks of that in a way that makes it sound incredibly interesting and incredibly sort of anthropologically sophisticated. So I do need to watch.
I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen it. But I'm with you on Star Trek and Star Wars. Sorry, everybody.
I mean, there's great stuff. We mentioned earlier the fantastic Return of Voyager in Star Trek. So wonderful cultural moments like that I truly appreciate.
Alice, thank you so much for coming on, Alice. Really appreciate it.
So much fun.
Thank you for inviting me. And it's been really fun to think about all of these questions about our present and future.